The illusion of making it, and the high-income suffocation. Imagine a number, $178,000. In almost any city in the world, this figure represents the pinnacle of professional success. It is the salary of a senior software engineer, a successful corporate attorney, or a specialized medical professional. To the outside observer, a person earning this much has arrived. They drive the right cars, live in the right zip codes, and their children attend the right schools. But if we step inside their home and perform a forensic audit of their reality, we find something disturbing. We find a person lying awake at 3 a.m., thumbing through their banking app, feeling a specific kind of financial suffocation. Despite the high salary, their balance is frequently near zero. They are 2 missed paychecks away from a total structural collapse. This is what economists call the high-income poverty trap. It is a world where you earn more in a month than many people earn in a year, yet you possess the same financial immune system as someone living on minimum wage. You are rich on paper, but broke in reality. In the 2026 economy, banks and financial institutions have a specific name for these individuals: high engagement accounts. From a corporate perspective, the person earning $178,000 with zero savings is the most profitable customer in existence. They are productive enough to keep generating massive cash flow, but they are precisely stretched enough to never walk away. They are the perfect crop to be harvested through fees, high-interest leases, and the desperation premium. To understand how a $178,000 salary leads to an empty account, we have to look at the success script mismatch. Most high earners are operating on a financial operating system written for their parents' generation. They believe that a higher income automatically solves financial stress. However, the data from 2025 shows the opposite. 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 report living paycheck to paycheck. The trap isn't the result of being bad with money in a reckless way. It is the result of lifestyle inflation that occurs so gradually it becomes invisible. The nightmare begins with the cognitive load of scarcity. You would assume that a person earning $178,000 doesn't experience financial anxiety. But researchers from Harvard and Princeton found that chronic financial stress, the constant mental math of managing massive fixed costs, impairs cognitive performance by roughly 13 IQ points. This is the equivalent of missing a full night of sleep every single day. The senior executive making 6 figures is often making the most important decisions of their career with a depleted battery because their brain is consumed by the arithmetic of survival. At this level, money is no longer a tool, it has become the air. You either have enough to breathe, or you are suffocating, and the margin for error is razor thin. When James, our hypothetical high earner, gets a $10,000 raise, he feels rich for exactly 1 afternoon. Then his expenses expand to meet the new space he made for them. He trades the reliable Honda for a leased luxury SUV because he earned it. He moves from an adequate apartment to a home in a prestigious district to ensure educational opportunity for his kids. Each decision is reasonable in isolation, but they compound into a wealth prison. James is not building wealth. He is simply an underaccumulator, processing a vast amount of money for the benefit of the system. He has fallen for the fundamental lie that high income equals wealth. In reality, income is merely cash flow, while true wealth is optionality, the ability to walk away from a toxic situation or an exhausting job because your assets produce more than your labor. In the next part, we are going to perform a forensic breakdown of where the $178,000 actually goes. We will look at the fixed cost arms race, the status-driven cognitive decline, and the loyalty tax that banks extract from high-income individuals who remain inert. We will see why the person earning $178,000 is often more vulnerable than the person earning $50,000 who lives with intentionality. The invisible math of the stretched 6-figure life. To understand where James's $178,000 disappears, we have to look past the gross number and perform a surgery on his cash flow. The first incision is the most painful, the tax bite. While the average worker sees a standard deduction, James sits in a marginal tax bracket where every additional dollar earned is taxed at roughly 32% to 35% once you factor in federal, state, and payroll taxes. His $14,800 monthly gross income instantly shrinks to roughly times $10,200 before he even starts the car to go to work. Then comes the fixed cost arms race. James doesn't live in a house, he lives in a bidding war for educational opportunity. To ensure his children attend a top-tier public school, he bought into a prestigious zip code where the median home price reflects the quality of the local tax base. His mortgage, property taxes, and insurance consume $4,500 a month. He is not paying for shelter, he is paying a tuition equivalent through his bank. Because he has so much dead equity trapped in his walls, he feels rich on Zillow, but he is starving for liquidity. Next, we audit the performance of success. James drives a leased luxury SUV with a $1,200 monthly payment because everyone at the firm drives one. When you add insurance, premium fuel, and the loyalty tax he pays by not shopping his rates, his transportation costs exceed $1,800 a month. He is trading the most productive years of his compounding life for the new car smell, a scent that costs him roughly $70,000 in foregone returns every 5 years. The most insidious layer, however, is what I call the exhaustion tax. Because James works 55 hours a week, including what economists call shadow work, the grooming, the commuting, and the 2 hours of staring at a wall Friday night to decompress, he has zero domestic bandwidth. He and his partner spend $800 a month on food delivery apps because they are too fried to cook. They pay $400 a month for convenience services, dog walkers, lawn care, and house cleaning, effectively outsourcing their lives so they can spend more time at the office to pay for the outsourcing. When we apply the real hourly wage formula to James's life, the results are devastating. We take his whittled-down net income after taxes, mortgage, cars, and exhaustion expenses, which leaves him with a surplus of maybe $1,500 a month. We divide that by his true hours committed, the 2,800 hours a year he spends either at work, getting to work, or recovering from work. The math proves that James, the $178,000 a year executive, is actually working for less than $7 an hour in freedom money. He is mathematically earning less than the teenager flipping burgers who walks to work and leaves his stress at the fry station. James is the ultimate high engagement account. He is too exhausted to audit his vampire costs. He pays a loyalty tax to his bank because he's been with them for 15 years, leaving $30,000 in a savings account earning times 0.01. He is paying for the privilege of being inert, donating over times $1,200 a year in lost yield simply because he doesn't have the cognitive bandwidth to spend one afternoon setting up a high-yield account. He is trapped in the upgrade illusion, convinced that the version 3.0 of his life will finally bring the permission to exhale. But as his income climbs, the system simply recalibrates the toll road. He is a failing business with high revenue but zero margin. He is Enron in a suit and tie, waiting for an external shock, a layoff, a medical bill, or a market dip to expose the fact that his fortress is made of cardboard. In the final part, we will discuss the exit protocol for the high-income trap. We will look at how James can rebuild his financial immune system, why he must stop performing a rival, and how to achieve escape velocity by moving past the $100,000 threshold where his money finally starts working harder than he does. The exit protocol and the path to sovereignty. To break the $178,000 salary trap, James must first confront a brutal mathematical mirror. In the world of private wealth management, there is a formula used to separate those who are truly building a future from those who are merely processing cash for the system. It's the wealth accumulator formula. Multiply your age by your pre-tax annual household income and divide by 10. For James, at age 42, earning $178,000, his expected net worth should be roughly $747,600. If James looks at his account and sees near zero liquid savings and only dead equity in a house he can't afford to sell, he is officially classified as an under-accumulator of wealth, UAW. He is a high-performance engine with a massive fuel leak. The first step of the exit protocol is a radical shift in identity. James must stop seeing himself as a successful executive and start seeing himself as a capital allocator in recovery. The path to sovereignty begins with building a financial immune system. In the 2026 economy, a six-figure salary without a buffer is not success. It is high-risk exposure. Real resilience doesn't come from the next bonus. It comes from reaching escape velocity. As billionaire Charlie Munger famously said, "The first $100,000 is a nightmare, but you have to do it." For a high earner like James, this milestone is even more critical because it changes his financial posture. Reaching $100,000 in liquid assets moves James from a state of dependence, where he must tolerate a toxic work environment or a demanding boss, to pay the $4,500 mortgage, to a state of optionality. With $100,000, James has what behavioral economists call outside option value. He can walk into a negotiation knowing that he could survive for 2 years without a single paycheck. This lack of desperation is visible to employers, banks, and even algorithms. It is the point where James becomes unharvestable. To get there, James must implement the IncomeFoundation. Even though he and his partner earn a combined high income, they must restructure their fixed costs, mortgage, car leases, and insurance, so that they can be covered by just one of their salaries. This creates a massive, intentional gap. The second income is no longer lifestyle money. It becomes strategic capital used to fill the $100,000 bridge as fast as humanly possible. Next, James must perform a vampire audit on his exhaustion expenses. He needs to realize that spending $15,000 a year on convenience services and delivery apps just because he is too tired from work is a tax on burnout. By recovering his cognitive bandwidth and reducing his work hours to a sustainable level, he can insource his life and stop paying the desperation premium. He must also stop paying the loyalty tax to his bank. For a high earner, leaving $50,000 in a standard savings account earning 0.01% is like donating $2,000 a year to the bank's shareholders. By moving that capital to a high-yield environment or a treasury money market fund earning 5%, he forces the system to compete for him rather than harvest. The most difficult part of the protocol is the refusal to perform arrival. James must become comfortable being remarkable by internal measures, but unremarkable by external ones. He must drive the 5-year-old car, live in the modest house, and let his brokerage account be his only audience. He must realize that the American dream in 2026 has been bid up until it became a wealth prison. True wealth is not a $178,000 salary. True wealth is the silence of a life without financial noise. It is the ability to wake up on a Tuesday and realize that your lazy employees, your invested dollars, are officially working harder than you are. Once James crosses that $100,000 threshold and eventually reaches the point where his annual investment returns beat his annual contributions, the mechanical flip occurs. At that moment, the trap is permanently broken. If this audit of the six-figure poverty trap changed how you see your salary, hit that subscribe button. We are dissecting the hidden mechanics of wealth every week to help you stop being the product and start being the owner. I'm Dave, and I will see you in the next one.